Welcome to the whitest house. Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. They suck the blood of the poor and the wipe their mouth. The last gas of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the whitest house, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the finest couch, and for the right amount, you can.
If that's the essence of your entire political identity, you might be a white supremacist.
Welcome to This Week in White Supremacy. It was one of them weeks, you know what I'm saying? It was one of them extra white supremacy weeks, man, where we have a lot to talk about. We might go, over a lot of time. We welcome folks to hop in a comment and kind of share how you felt. I first introduced myself. I'm just X. I'm the co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. Maybe you might get these raps sometime soon. I don't know, but we'll see. My brother Treble
on LS, never lose sight. And a teaching artist. I'm a producer, neighborhood alchemist. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, all around good dude. And Sai with the shades, man. You gonna make it with us today?
Yeah, man. Sai with the shades, full-time supervillain, part-time hater, waffle-colored wonder twin, COVID crusader, all of that. You get me? Out here fighting off the devils, the Yakub's white supremacist concoction of COVID-19.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, we hope you're better. Someone said no tonight. Miracle is joining us. Miracle's just running a little bit late. She will be joining us shortly, the other Wonder Twin. So we're gonna just get started, and hopefully as the folks join us, Miracle will be able to join us shortly. We wanted to obviously start with what was taking place in Minnesota, despite the fact that this trial is happening. The Chauvin trial, the murder of George Floyd, which really set off, protests all around the country last May, right outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, in a place called Brooklyn Center. A young man, Dante Wright, was killed. Dante Carter was killed by, or did I say it? I'm sorry,
Dante Wright.
Yeah, you're right.
God bless the dead.
Yeah, we definitely want to say prayers up to him and his family. But once again, a young man who was unarmed. The police pulled him over and said he had a warrant. Got scared. Tried to get away from the scene, but wasn't at no point in time was a threat to any police. A 26-year police veteran, Kim Porter, pulled her gun and shot him. Claiming her claim was that she meant to pull her taser. I'm not sure how a 26-year-old veteran doesn't know the difference between a gun and a taser, how it feels in your hand. So she resigned. I guess the police chief resigned as well. Just an interesting tidbit before I turn it over was that I had read that none of the police officers live in Brooklyn Center that work for that police station, which I thought was fascinating. She was charged with I guess second-degree manslaughter. Her mugshot came out today. And of course, folks turned up. You know what I'm saying? Like, folks came out to Brooklyn Center. They protested. They were in front of the police station. And so I just, here we are in the midst of this trial where we're reliving the death of George Floyd. We brought thousands to the streets last year, and we started to kind of have this conversation about, in the wake of COVID, about policing and reforming policing or whatever. Now, before the trial can even end, and we don't know if there's a guilty or not guilty, we have another unarmed Black person that was killed by the police. This is after we've seen like mass killers, white mass killers brought in with no problem at all. Just what are your initial thoughts on it? How do you feel? Where do we go from here? Whoever wants to start.
to be completely transparent, when I first seen the news clip, when it popped up on my phone that said officer said it was a mistake, thought taser was gun, or thought the gun was a taser, I was like, bullshit. I wanted to throw my phone, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I got a little crack in it. I did kind of throw my phone a little bit. That's neither here nor there. But I did, like, I don't know. It was just like, this is bullshit, like straight up bullshit. It's like, how do you accidentally shoot anyone? How do you mistake a gun for a taser? It doesn't make any sense when I think about it logically. I'm like trying to envision if I were to feel it in my palm. I'm pretty sure me, not trained with any of these things, would definitely know the difference. You know what I'm saying? You're
gonna know, and you want to know, because like you might find yourself, like if you're somebody who might find yourself in a situation where your life might be threatened, you will want to make sure you're pulling the right thing. Like, right, you wouldn't want to find yourself in a situation where your life's threatened and pull a taser when you meant to pull a gun. You know what I'm saying? So just like you said, and we're not trained police officers. We're not people that have put on. I mean, you think about somebody that worked for 26 years, you know, at least for the last 2015, you've been putting a gun and taser on every fucking day. Like, you wake up every day, you put your uniform on, and you put your gun and your taser on. So to lead us to believe that, like, you forgot which one was which, you know, but so I agree with you on that. I mean, you know, and people call bullshit from the gate, but then again, that's still no excuse. Like, whether or not you thought it was what it was, that's not going to bring Dante back. You know what I'm saying? That's not an excuse. Farouk?
So first off, I want to say Ramadan Mubarak to everybody that's observing worldwide.
Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you, my brother. May Allah accept all of our fasts, and may Allah be with the family of Dante Wright and make their suffering easy. I want to say firstly that I have had extensive training in martial arts for the past 30 years, and I work with law enforcement and on the local level and on a military level. And when you are an officer, when you're dispatched into the field, your dominant hand is your lethal weapon, and your non-dominant hand is your non-lethal weapon, right? So for you to be a 26-year veteran of the force and plead ignorance that you didn't know what side your dominant weapon or your lethal weapon was on is complete bullshit, right? And the fact that even if it is that you were that frazzled in the line of duty is further evidence that you had no business being in the field that specific day. You should have taken that fucking day off. Secondly, this is not endemic to Brooklyn Center. We've seen this same shit happen with Oscar Grant. We've seen this happen with all these different cases across the country. And as Yasiri said, the officers that patrol Brooklyn Center aren't residents. That's the same thing for the city of Pittsburgh and so many different cities, metropolitan areas, where the officers that patrol, the officers that terrorize these neighborhoods aren't residents of. Damn, who outside with the car caravan? That's probably my side. Sorry about that.
They was honking. They was honking to say.
Bro, I was ignoring it, bro. I didn't. Like, that's like an everyday thing for me. I just tuned it out.
That's that dirty Duquesne traffic, man. But you know, the officers that terrorize these neighborhoods aren't citizens or aren't residents of the areas that they patrol. And this is the issue right here, is that we don't have, you know, this policing. Not only is it contributing to gun violence, but it's also contributing to community violence. And there's no recompense for any of this. And we've seen another life taken senselessly. And not only that, it was that they issued a warrant to the wrong address.
Right.
That's a clerical error resulted in this person's death, this human being's death.
If I could just expand on that, was, you know, he had a warrant for his arrest, and, you know, people began to look for the warrant. And one of the, one of the videos that came out showed that the warrant was for like smoking weed, like, which, you know, here's weed that's supposed to be decriminalized. He pleaded guilty. He agreed to the fine. He agreed to a payment. but that, you know, I guess he had a court date or whatever, but they sent it to the wrong address, so he had a warrant. And then, you know, the another piece that came up was the police officer supposedly, now he called his mother when he was pulled over and said that the police told him that he was pulled over because he had air fresheners hanging from his rearview mirror. The police actually said like he had an expired tag, but according to I guess Brooklyn Center had this, they have a backlog to where you can't even get a new like tag for your car because they had this backlog because of COVID. And so like, how are you having cops pulling people over for not having this tag when there's a backlog and people can't even get the tag if they wanted it? You're saying that, you know, marijuana is decriminalized. So I think you have all of these things, but we know what it was. This was a young black man driving a car. You know, the car had just been given to him by his family 2 weeks. I mean, just imagine how his family feels. They just give this young man a car 2 weeks. He's had it 2 weeks. And this is where we have to talk about, you know, I was just having a conversation with a white journalist about the talk. And this was a white dude who and basically what he said was he had never heard of this. He was like, I just found out about the talk. He's telling me like 2 years ago, because his parents don't have to give him no talk about his interaction with police. But as black people, you have to say, okay, you know, the first thing I did, I have a son who's 20 years old. I texted him, do you see what's happening in Minnesota? Make sure your tags are up to date. Make sure when you drive, you know what I'm saying, that you're good. Like you're not smoking weed in the car because something like this could happen to you. And that's just something as black parents we have to do. So I just can only imagine, you know, how his parents feel. But go ahead, Saeed.
Yeah. What's troubling about this is that we're seeing the trial in the same city, right? Brooklyn Center is adjacent to Minneapolis, if I'm not mistaken.
You're not.
And you have an officer already right now. We're in 2 weeks of the officer that murdered George Floyd, and you have officers dispatched still with their firearms. If I was the mayor, if I was the chief, I would have been like, sequester your arms. Like in these times right now, come out with batons and really mitigate all interactions with the general public until a verdict has been released. Because at this point, you're just adding fuel to, like, you're throwing napalm into an already combustible situation.
Absolutely.
And now at this point,
that's common sense. You would think like the chief would like say, hey, you would think every officer or every police district in that area would have a conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. Don't like anything, like not until this trial is over. Like we have to be mindful and careful. Like let's not even do no crazy traffic stops. Like he was not doing like a expired tag. Like you need all of those people for an expired tag traffic stop.
And that's the thing. That's that these quality of life infractions that police officers target black people at almost a 99% rate. Jaywalking, loitering, littering, traffic violations. It's almost 99% black people. Yeah. And now there's a mortality rate attached to a quality of life infraction. And that's what's terrifying about this, is the fact that it's not just about traffic stops anymore. It's not just about selling CDs. It's not just about living in your own environment, you live in your own apartment. It's the fact that law enforcement is a health risk to black people. It is a 100%. Completely terminal case, because whenever officers are involved with black people, how many times was it? Four black people are murdered a day by police. That was the statistics in 2019. This is 2021. I'm sure the number is up even higher at this point. It might be 4.5, up close to 5 people a day. But I just want to I'm gonna pass the mic off real quick. But I want John, do me a favor, highlight this real quick.
Yeah,
that's the type of time we on, man.
Yeah, I think I mean you're right in a sense. I mean, and I have, you know, so many things, but absolutely like what you said, like basically just black people living life, like Like there's, you know, if that was a white person driving, would they even have been pulled over? But like you said, it's like police, like the harassment of us just living regular life. Like you said, like here's Alton Sterling just selling CDs. Like he's not bothering anybody. Like nobody's caught. Like he's not a threat to anybody. Philando Castile just driving his star. He's not a threat to nobody. George Floyd has like that's not violence. You know what I'm saying? He didn't run in and rob. And even if he did run in and rob the store, he shouldn't be killed because of that. But it's like he's not even really crimes that harm anybody. And I think that's what we see happening. And that's, as black people, like you're saying, we're saying like, well, how come like you just pull us over for nothing and we get killed? Yet when these white people actually like do mass murders, you know what I'm saying? That's not even killed. And then we have a situation where we're actually in the midst of, and this is where it gets weird, and not even weird, but this is just black life. Like the fact that, like, you know, George Floyd's sister, I believe, taught or girlfriend taught Dante Wright in school.
Dante Wright, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like you get these connections of like trauma. You know what I'm saying? That's happening in our community. You know, somebody was saying that Fred Hampton's mom babysitted Emmett Till. You know what I'm saying? Like here are these like generational things that's black people that we have to go through. But the fact that, you know, in the midst of this is like a police don't even have like the common sense to say we can't do anything now because of the city's already on edge, because we literally have to, like, although we have a video that showed, you know, this man with his knee on George Floyd's neck, we still have to like go through this machination. Like if you ask the average black person, he still might be found not guilty. Like even, you know, there were stories that came out today that said that the defense, Chauvin's defense was really bad. And, you know, all of these things. Right. You know, and we're going to get into the story of the brother from the lieutenant from the army who, right, like his girlfriend was Eric Gardner's cousin. I mean, it's just this connectedness around trauma. But the fact that we even have to go through this machination, if George Floyd killed Chauvin, there wouldn't be a trial.
Right.
There wouldn't be a trial. There wouldn't be, if there was a trial, it'd have been over right now. But the fact that we have to maybe wonder if Chauvin is even going to be found guilty, because we've seen cop after cop after cop. I mean, right now, you know, we watched this police officer, and I wish if somebody can get his name, shoot Jacob Blake, right? Who was not, he's walking away. He's going to his car with children in the car 7 times. This officer's back on duty. Like this officer was literally exonerated of any, like, yo, he didn't do anything wrong. So now what are you telling me that this officer can come up and shoot me? Jacob Blake wasn't armed. He wasn't a threat to nobody. He was walking away and going into his car, and this officer shoots him 7 times. And that dude is like, he's just back on the job. It is what it is. He's back on the job. It's no problem.
And it's like, to put that into perspective for people, you know what I'm saying? Like just to put that, just to, you know, paint the picture a little bit. It's like, if you're black in that area, the block is hot as fuck right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like you got this dude who shot this dude 7 times for no reason, back in uniform, patrolling the block. It's hot. It's like you feel like at this point you can't do shit. You feel like if I lived in that area, I'd be afraid to drive. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to be caught on the same street as this dude driving around. You feel me?
Right. But then it's like, this is the wild part is, but you got to go to work, you know, and this is what is fucked up about like America. It's like black people already traumatized by, you know, all last year. I mean, I'm still dealing with the effects of last year. You know what I'm saying? We're still in a global pandemic that's disproportionately affecting black people, you know, trying to avoid this Chauvin trial because that's just more trauma, right? You're seeing the relative of George Floyd crying, right? Witnesses crying, breaking down, you know what I'm saying, on TV. And like all that is traumatic, right? And then we got another video, and it's like, as a black person in America, you're just expected to just show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you got to drive. Just imagine those people that are driving through that area, you know, or let's say you're somebody that got to come from Brooklyn Center into Minneapolis, and you're passing through where Dante Wright was killed and where George Floyd was killed, and you're just expected to just show up and just do your job like regular. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the difficulty of this moment, the craziness when you say this a powder keg, and then, you know, if Chauvin is found not guilty, then what? You know what I'm saying? Right. And if he is found guilty, it does exonerate a system that has continually killed us with no remorse. You know what I'm saying? I think Miracle just came on. If we want to bring Miracle in, John, if Miracle's ready. And I did want to just get, you know, Miracle's thoughts on this as well. Can we bring there she is. Peace, Miracle. So we're yeah, they thought we were chaperoneless for a second. They was like, they ain't got no chaperone today. They about to go. They got to go fully wild. But we realized like we doing a whole bunch of stuff. But just your initial thoughts on, you know, what happened with Dante in the midst of the Chauvin trial, and like what, you know, I was in a conversation on Clubhouse, and the reason I got in the conversation because it was the room was titled like, what do we do now? Like what should we be doing, and how should we be organizing as a community in this moment?
Yeah, I think it's very important, like you said, even if he gets convicted, that doesn't mean that the system works for us or loves and values Black people, right? First of all, I don't know my heart goes out to any Black person in Minneapolis right now, because I couldn't imagine like the abject horror it is just to live already in the system of white supremacy, but to know two people from your community was taken in such a way while you're also already dealing with everyday microaggressions and anti-Blackness. But it's tragic, it is preventable, and it's this part where you're just living, like as James Baldwin says, in a day of rage every single day, because all of this stuff could have been prevented, right? Even if the address was incorrect, why couldn't somebody call him, right? Why couldn't somebody send him a text message and say, hey, you know, you missed this court date? Why couldn't there be more proactive engagement in these systems, especially during COVID-19? And it gets to the point where every single time something happens in the situation, we want to say, oh, it was lack of training. At what point can you train a person to know if there's between a gun and a taser? At what point can you train a person to know how to de-escalate and to engage? At what point are we going to expect higher and more from the people who have taken on a professional oath to serve and protect the community? It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, what it shows that police are not there to serve and protect us as a people. They're there to serve and protect the community of property, because we saw the university police, we saw the National Guard, and we saw the local police all come together just to police and cage protesters who were just trying to grieve, family members who were just trying to ask for questions. So we know that this system, when it wants to, has resources. We know the system, when it wants to, can care about something. And we're seeing Black and brown people be murdered by the system, and we're told, oh, they just didn't know better, they needed more training. And it's like, no, at what point can we get to abolishing the police?
Absolutely. And then, you know, you had the Brooklyn Center Police Department like flying the Blue Lives Matter like I mean, just you know, it's almost like you just are telling us we don't really care about your life at that point. Flying the Blue Lives Matter flag, you know, from what I heard, you know, and I saw somebody posted, I think it was Corey Bush, about like the fact that, you know, after, you know, I think it was 2016, that Minneapolis police got millions of dollars for training. Supposedly Chauvin was actually one of the training officers. You know what I'm saying? This woman who killed Dante Wright was the head of police union. She was somebody who's been on the job for 26 years. This is somebody who would be training a new officer. So obviously it's not training. And I think that's where, you know, we get into, when we talk about abolition, we talk about like, we don't need police. like clearly, like to deal with somebody that doesn't have a tag on their plate in a pandemic, like we or somebody that, oh, you got some air fresheners hanging from your rear view mirror, like we don't need you. That's not a threat to anybody. That's not a threat to anybody. That's what that is Brooklyn Center actually using their police officers as like a collection agency, because all that is to get a ticket to somebody that they have to pay a fine, and that goes into your coffers. You know what I'm saying? That's not a threat to anybody in that place. And so, just like you said, it's not training that we need. We need less police. And, you know, we're dealing with this, and you're a part of our, reimagining public safety thing, Miracle. And what we're saying is like if you're putting more money into the police to have more police is a danger to us. The more police have to act, the more opportunities that we could be the next person killed for nothing. We need less police. We don't need more police. We need police removed and decentered from the life of Black people, because these weren't no cops like in the like police don't prevent crime. Crime happens, and then here comes police, right? And when it's white people committing crime, even in Pittsburgh, when this white man shot and killed cops, other police, he was brought in. So yeah.
What's
Go ahead, Miracle.
Go ahead, Farouk.
No,
trying to conserve his energy.
No, you're good. I'm okay. Alhamdulillah. What I was gonna say was pretty much what Jasiri said. There was another case in Pittsburgh. What was that guy's name? Poplowski, that shot.
That was the guy that shot and killed.
He killed like 3 cops. Yeah, he killed like 3 cops, and then the person who committed the Tree of Life massacre also shot 4 police officers, and he was taken in alive, right? And in addition to 13 other people,
Robert Bowers was his name.
Robert Bowers, that's right. Yeah, Robert Bowers. Now, there's a lot of people specifically, and I'll tell you what, I get this in Miracle. I would love to have you come in and defend me in conversations like this, because I just have smart ass answers to give. But more often than not, the most pushback I get from whenever I say defund the police in public spaces come from Black people. And it's interesting because people think that defund the police, like if it happened overnight, that would create this unstable, chaotic, demilitarized zone of an environment. No, that's not how it is. If you look at these gated communities, you look at these suburban areas and these cul-de-sacs that have virtually no police presence, the police don't ever come there. And there's very safe areas. In fact, the presence of the police, and I've said this on this show multiple times, the presence of police in white neighborhoods lowers the property value. So white people do not want police around their neighborhoods, because the moment patrols start, the value of the house goes down. Now, that's what property policing.
So no, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that's a fact, and that's why property policing is a thing. Because when police start to increase the patrols heavily, that's when gentrification can start. And then when gentrification starts, which is actually the #1 form of violence against Black people right now, next to police, that's when we're able to be displaced and put into these suburban areas where we lose our safety in numbers. And then we become a lot easier targets. So we end up in these small, these enclaves, these small communities, not only under-resourced and we're undervalued, but we're also discriminated against with predatory policies in suburban areas because we're not in the safety of the city anymore. And all of this goes back to the presence of over-policing in Black neighborhoods. And it's all part and a parcel. This is how all of this happens. And this is, we're not conspiracy theorists. You get me? None of us are these wild tinfoil hat people. We don't have the aluminium hats on sitting there saying, oh yeah, well, the magic bullet killed JFK and all of that. No, this is really how this shit happens. And you're seeing how it plays out in real time every day. If you look at how the police were dispatched in East Liberty this summer during a protest, when you had military snipers on the roof of a department store, right, in a formerly Black neighborhood. Explain that to me.
We were there when a bus pulled up with, it looked like maybe 40 state troopers to kind of protect Target, and there was I think it was maybe 6 or 7 protesters out there, and they were talking about all lives matter.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like, and because people like Ben Shapiro and all these other people get ahead of, like, you know, with their 5-syllable words and all that. My nigga, I'm smart too. Okay, I speak 3 languages. Not as me with all them talks. It get me loud that shit. They want to say all lives matter is intersectionality. No, my nigga, that shit is not. That's antagonistic, right? And you could be coy and say all of them. You could be coy and say all of them things about it, but the fact of the matter remains is that the presence of police right now is our number one focus, and the we have, as Miracle just said, abject horror in Minneapolis. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and I want to come to Miracle. See if these all lives matter people are going to come out and talk about this 16-year-old boy that was just killed by a Maryland state trooper that was white. See how many of these all lives matter people call for an investigation against this officer. This boy had a BB gun and a little knife, and then they didn't show the BB gun. They put like a stock photo. Well, where's the BB gun he had? You know what I'm saying? So let's see what these all lives matter said. Like, you don't hear them when these police get. Let's see how many put this young 16-year-old white boy out there that was just killed by the police in Maryland.
Thank you, Miss Michelle.
Yeah, and I know that the story in Maryland's unbreaking, and it seems like he may have been killed in his front yard. So he may have been playing with a knife and a replica gun in his own, abode. But I think that a lot of people see us as radical because we point out that police do not keep our communities safe. And to Fruit's point of Black, especially elder Black people looking at the police of law and order, it's because we've been beaten into assimilation and thinking that we can no longer police our own communities and show up for each other without state violence and intervention. And at the end of the day, we are all that we need, but we don't remember what it was like just to be in community with each other because our actions are police. If we are dressing alike, if we're hanging out on our front porches, if we're walking together from school, all of a sudden we're a gang, we're a mob. So we have literally watched how we engage, be legislated and criminalized. So there are so many people who are fearful of what it would be like to actually have liberation and freedom because they know that when that happens traditionally, that's when white violence occurs, right? When we look at, Black Wall Street or any thriving Black business that has gone through in our nation's history, when we start to thrive and show up for each other, that's when we get bombed. That's when we get raided. That's when racist riots come and we get our communities lynched. So there is a reason why people feel a certain way. I also think it's very telling that when these things happen, the good officers never come out and say, not in my community, or the politicians can never come out and speak with much candor and anger about police violence as they do about the possibilities of looting. I've never seen that, right? No police chief has come out and be like, you know what, it is not permitted in my jurisdiction, in my precinct, for officers to do A, B, and C. All we hear is, this is unfortunate, it's an accident, but there's no excuse for looting. There's no excuse for rioting. Where can we get to the point where we say there's no excuse for officers to use violence against community members? Because at the end of the day, if he wanted to leave, you had his number, you could have, called him, and he could have turned it another day. All of this stuff from George Floyd on, we're seeing that all of this violence happens because police officers choose not to use their own discretion, not to engage, and not to de-escalate.
Let me say this.
I think it says. Go ahead, Farouk.
No, go on. I'll finish after you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and that was what we heard from Joe Biden, right? President Biden said, I mean, he expressed, that he wanted to see reform and change, but like looting is unacceptable. But it's like, at what point? I mean, even Joe Biden's reform, over was like hundreds of millions of dollars to police districts and forces. Like, that's not reform to us. That's not the reform for us. And so it's like, if you as a system, like what other way, like how can we punish a system that keeps taking our lives? Because like the departments aren't changing, You know what I'm saying? The officers in many cases aren't going to prison or jail. You know what I'm saying? And it's like everybody just goes back to normal. You know what I'm saying? So like what other, like you literally almost give us no other recourse besides going and breaking a window or burning something down, because literally like you're in police reform, but you're not leading any real efforts to make it happen. And when we tried to do it here, you know what I'm saying, here in Pittsburgh, I mean, they basically said like, no, we don't care we don't care about these protests. We don't care about the hurt and pain that we've seen happen over the years. We're going to put more money into the police force. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so I think like that attitude to us, you know what I'm saying? When no, like you said, nobody's saying like, hey, yo, man, take that flag down. Take that Blue Lives Matter flag down. You're just inflaming things. Like, we can't have these police officers do violence. You don't see that. They actually, a lot of times, send these black police officers on there to try to cape for these white officers that kill us. And try to cape for the system that murdered us for decades. Mind you, this was after we already seen, you know, we being traumatized by the Chauvin trial. And then we saw this other video that went viral of this lieutenant. Once again, where were these I love the troops folks when these officers, you know, ran up on this lieutenant, you know what I'm saying, who and they were like, this dude pulls into a BP, because we know the drill. And this was Lieutenant Nazario, I believe is his name. And we know the drill. We gotta be in some place well lit. We know the drill. They were mad at him. Like, oh, well, you know, like you didn't have to do that. But this whole, you know, you got to comply. You got to listen to us. Wouldn't even tell the brother why you pulled him over. He's just saying like, yo, why did you pull? Get out the car. Get out the car. Get out the car. Spraying him in his face. Didn't matter that he had a uniform on. You know what I'm saying? And so all these, I love the troops. I'll do anything for the troops people. You didn't hear a peep from them to go and defend this brother who did nothing.
Bro, that made me so upset, bro, because like in that moment when I was watching that video, the thing that kept going through my mind was like, where is the reasoning? You know what I'm saying? It's like, is it even possible to reason with these people when a human life is sitting right in front of them? Because they came off rip. I seen the video that was like Cuz's body cam footage, and he got out the car with his gun out. You know what I'm saying? Like out the car, just gun out already drawn. Yeah, just ready. You know what I'm saying?
And when Nazario says, "I'm afraid to get out the car,"
he's like, "You should be."
He said, "You should be." While he got his gun out. You know what I'm saying?
Can I speak anecdotally?
Go ahead, bro.
The last summer, during the height of the protests and everything that was happening in the city, right? I remember going to the office and I got followed by 2 Pittsburgh police cars, and I phoned Jasiri. And I was like, bro, I'm getting followed to the office. They've been on me since the whole way up and down Baum Boulevard, and they're not turning. He's like, okay, I'll just stay on the phone with you. At that point, I had to make a conscious decision to get off the phone with Jasiri and turn my camera on and my phone and place it in my driver's side like this, just in case I gotta videotape my own death for proof against these officers. And this is part of the talk. For all of our white viewers and the people who don't know what we're having, we now have to, because alhamdulillah, we have the technology to do so, even though it's probably not going to result in charges against an officer. We have to, as black motorists, make a conscious decision that if I'm getting pulled over by the police, I might have to videotape my own death 100%. In order for my legacy to be intact as a human being so that they can't attack it. And that was something
they're gonna attack it anyway, but
they're gonna attack it anyway, right? But that is part of Dwayne Wright's reality, of Philando Castile's reality, of Sandra Bland realities, like of all of these people who have died at the hands of police while operating a motor vehicle. And now, instead of an unarmed black man narrative, we have to have an unarmed black motorist narrative. Not only are we going to be executed for our right to bear arms, but we're also going to be executed for our right to operate a motor vehicle. And this is this is where, again, it goes back to the policing aspect of it. And what I forget who was, there's a miracle that said you have to revisit the trauma now of driving through these trauma sites right?
Right.
We have to, you got to go to work, you got to go to the grocery store, you got to live in that community, and you got to go past that street and be like, damn, that's where they killed that brother. He
Right.
he was minding his business, like, right? You don't
then,
even want to go to that store no more.
Yeah, I mean, and we make these makeshift like roses, and I think about somebody like Leon Ford, but by the grace of God, I mean, you had a very similar thing happen with Leon Ford, and by the grace of God, he's still alive and doing tremendous and great things in the community. But then I think about like, what is he experiencing? What is Miss Michelle, who lost our son to reckless police violence, that didn't have to have it, so then you got all these communities that also become re-traumatized. These survivors of loved ones that's dealt with police violence become re-traumatized, man. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I also want to point out that if you ever taken a driver course, right, they tell you if you get stopped by a police officer and it's an unsafe area, what do? You turn the lights on in your car, you slow down. If it's safe to do so, you call 911, and then you go to a well-lit area. So the training, the lieutenant followed the training and still got in trouble. And so at what point are we going to recognize that even when you comply with demands, even when you do stuff that you are told to do, your life is still in jeopardy? And when we're talking about all of this trauma, and we have situations where Pittsburgh is talking about, we have $300+ million coming into the city. What are we doing to help people's mental health, right? Mm-hmm. People have been murdered by police for decades in this city, have survived gun violence, have survived neglect and incompetence from our local officials. So what are we doing to make sure that those communities are going to be okay, right? And this is where I sit with, because it's so easy for these police officers to get millions of dollars for robot dogs and high-tech flying things. And we have a whole new fleet of these militarized vehicles. But what about these dilapidated buildings that our elders are living in? What about these potholes that we have to drive through just to go through our communities? What about the fact that we don't have
falling down
grocery stores still and access to fresh fruit and vegetables in our own communities, let alone quality education, let alone therapists, let alone doctors, let alone economic viability in our communities? So what are we good? What is the message that we're telling Black and brown people? Because we are traumatized. And then when it looks like people going and raging in the street or burning down buildings or yelling or screaming, then we're going to say, oh my God, that's not respectable. That's not the way you protest. We need another committee. We're going to form a committee and commission to figure out why you're upset. But there is never any proactive actions from these leadership people to say, you know what, this is messed up. I see you're wrong. I'm going to call UPMC and we're going to get everyone free counseling for 6 months. I'm going to call the School of Social Work. I'm going to get this. There's never that innovation. And I wonder why. Like, what's it going to take for people in power to actually get out and make a difference?
I would say, Miracle, the answer is just anti-Blackness. Like, you don't care about us, and it's shown by, how you treat us. You simply don't care. And so, you do these commissions and you call these commissions because you kicking the can down the road because you actually don't want to really make real systemic change. You don't want to dismantle white supremacy because this is the very thing that you benefit from, profit from, and your power comes from. So you're not concerned with actually beginning to, remove police out of the lives of Black people. You're not concerned with that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want it to happen. That's the thing. It's like, it's really a ticking time bomb for any city. You know what I'm saying? That this happened again and again. And it's like, if there's no real efforts to begin to dismantle these things, then we're just waiting for something to happen here and it all to blow up again. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not seeing any real change into the fundamental way that we go about policing. One of the interesting things with Lieutenant Nazario was that the police actually put on their report that he was eluding them. Like, they said that he, and this was according to their dash cam video, he pulled over within 1 minute and 30 seconds into this well-lit place. They actually put on their report that he eluded them. And that was one of the reasons that they responded with such force. So that's another thing that we have to talk about, that these police also willfully lie, willfully plant evidence. Like this isn't us like Farouk being a conspiracy. We have years of documentation that the police lie and do these type of things. You know what I'm saying? And then when you pass a law, we saw this happen in New York City where, okay, well, we need to pass a law that says the police can't kneel on somebody's neck. Right after they passed the law, there's video of a police officer kneeling on a black man's neck, and he doesn't even get any discipline. The police officer who killed Jacob Blake doesn't get or shot Jacob Blake and paralyzed this man, doesn't get any discipline. Back at work. So even when you do put a law out, and who gets disciplined? Oh, it was the black woman officer. And why did she get kicked off the force? Because she tried to stop a white dude from brutalizing a black person, and she gets kicked off the force and then had to fight. Thankfully, got her pension just recently. We had to fight for years for this. And you're going to come around and tell us that all we got to do is a tweak here. Oh, we just got to change the culture. Just a little tweak here and a tweak there, and everything will be okay when it comes to policing. That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit.
Policing over the past however many years has been about property. And at this point, when you have police officers being trained by the Israeli Defense Force, when you have hundreds of millions of dollars, sometimes billions in the case of New York City, in the case of Toronto, in the case of Los Angeles PD, billions of dollars that go into oppressive practices that emphasize lethal tactics. These police officers are actually trained in guerrilla combat. For what? For what? Like, there's not one neighborhood in the United States of America, in all of North America, that requires, maybe in Mexico, I don't know. That might be a little terrible.
You know where required it? You know where required it? The motherfucking Capitol required that shit.
Right, the Capitol.
The Capitol, when all them crazy white folks rolled up on that Capitol with all their weapons. That's
and they were told to hold back.
Right,
they were told to hold back.
Like white people who are posting pictures of Dante with guns. We saw y'all motherfuckers strapped to come on, man. Y'all be coming to the damn protest with all types of AK-47s all over your whole body. Now you want to post a picture with Dante with a gun? Like that's some big deal? All the guns y'all carry and promote and put out there? I mean, come on, man. Really?
Right to bear arms. Right to bear arms.
Right. The right to bear arms for white folks. So what happened at the Capitol? Oh, we come to find out that the Capitol Police were told, yo, don't go hard. Don't use your most powerful crowd control weapon. Don't forget, folks, do all those types of things because of the optics, how it might look.
And that's the thing, like
we go out there and protest, and we've seen right here in the city of Pittsburgh, folks go out and protest as Kettle is beaten down. It's had tear gas shot at them, and then nobody came in front of the mayor's house, mind you, and then no one really care about them optics, right?
And what like, you know, what was the All Lives Matter shit, and what was the support the troops and the Blue Lives Matter shit for the lieutenant? Same thing. What the NRA thing? You get me? Like, what the NRA people for our gun rights? It's the National Rifle Association when it comes to white people, but it's one for black people. Right. It's niggas relinquish your arms.
Well, me having a gun means I'm a criminal. A white person having a gun means they're a patriot.
Right.
A black person having a gun means they're criminal. And that's the reality of being black. And that's what we say white privilege. You can carry your AK-47, walk around the fucking Kmart or wherever you want to go, and nobody bothers you because you're white. You have that privilege. As a black person, the minute I come out with an AK-47, I'm going to be surrounded by police, and I'm putting my life on the line. You know what I'm saying? You had something to say, Erica?
I did. It always just reminds me of John Crawford, but there was a couple of gun right enthusiasts who actually did. There was a YouTube video. They actually went around. It was a white guy with the AK, whatever.
I've seen that. Yeah, with an assault rifle.
The black man went the same route, and police were called, right? So we know there is
not only police called, Miracle, they didn't even, like, the white guy, the police had a conversation, and the white guy was getting real angry, like, don't tell me what my rights, you know what I'm saying? The black guy, the cop pulled his car. It had to be, he didn't even pull up to the black guy. He was about 100 yards down the street opened his door, pulled his gun out, and said, "Get on the ground." He didn't ask him any questions. He didn't say, "What are you doing? Why do you have that gun?" He said, "Get on the ground." They went and took that gun from him and put handcuffs on him and took him to the car. It was that white dude. They had a whole conversation. The white dude was like, "You don't ask me shit, cop. No, nothing."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, no, I was going to talk about that. That is the perception, but also when we're talking about the Capitol riots, one of the reasons why some white people do not understand Black Lives Matter is because they have the privilege of being able to commit felonies, terrorism, and not have to encounter violence, right? We saw even in Pittsburgh when there was the protest against Trump, when there was the protest for solidarity, post the Tree of Life, when there was the Women's March, when there was the march against gun violence, there was the march against the environment. People were able to break the laws, right? They were able to take the streets. They were able to do whatever. But when we were marching against state violence, that's when the police come. When it's Black and brown leaders, that's when the police come. So people's perceptions of even protesting is off. We saw in New York where those white women were literally breaking a glass at some corporate place and literally just sat there and waited for the police to come and arrest them. Meanwhile, we literally just lean on a building and people call the cops on us. So there is a difference in perception, and that's why some people really legit do not understand why they go on TV and they see people being tear gassed. They assume we've done something wrong, because when they go out and protest, right, when they go and decide that Pennsylvania needs to reopen and they bring their children and their guns and they threaten to kill the governor, nothing happens to them.
All right. And this is the wild part.
They're able to take their and last thing, we're talking about Dante. Remember, these Reopen Pennsylvania folks took off their license plates on their trucks because they didn't want to get scanned by the police readers, and no one stopped them for that. And they drove all the way to Harrisburg and all throughout the Commonwealth. No one stopped them for that. So there is an inherent privilege of who gets policed and who doesn't. And I also want to think about, what does it mean for Black and brown people to uphold these systems of white supremacy? Because we're seeing, if you're a Black officer, if you're a Black Army person, you're still being discriminated against. So what does it mean for you to willfully engage in a profession that is bent on subjugating Black and brown people, thinking that you can go and change it from the inside outside, and we're seeing you can't. And I think we also have to have those conversations, because we keep pushing. Even a lot of people in my family are veterans, because you like to prove your Americanness, you enlist in the military, you prove that you're a human being, you pay your American dream tax. But at the same time, that is built on harming other Black and brown folks. And I think we really have to talk about divesting from all of these institutions as Black and brown people, and finding other ways that we can support and engage our communities.
And I'm gonna come to you, Treble, because I saw you had something you had to say, Treble. Is that one, we saw with Nazario, that uniform ain't gonna save you. Like, what you think you gonna put that uniform on and wear that flag? That uniform did not save that man from getting pepper spray in his damn face. That uniform, that cop, we've seen undercover cops and Black cops be killed. We've seen a Black cop undercover at the Ferguson protest brutalized by his own people, and they covered it up, and he's still trying to get some justice in that case. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that happen. So I think that's a great question. It's something that we have to deal with. Why are you want to uphold the system that does not give a damn about your life or your children, like that will kill your children? But I did want to say to these white supremacists that want to actually talk about Ashley Babbitt, that crazy white woman that ran up in the Capitol, right? That flew to DC from San Diego, that trespassed at the Capitol, and then when these police officers in the Capitol that had guns say, "Don't go any further, don't go, come into this room, we're gonna shoot you," goes through a window and gets shot, and they're trying to compare. Dante Wright was driving down the fucking street. He didn't try to break into the damn police barracks. Because if he did, we wouldn't be doing all of this protesting or wondering what happened. So please, you can't that's where you're gonna go. You're actually going to go to a woman who trespassed at the state capitol for you patriots and tried to commit violence against Congress people, and then was told, don't come any further, we're going to get shot, you're going to get shot, and went further, got shot, to somebody that was driving down the street minding his own goddamn business. But that's white supremacy. That's where you're going to go.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine getting a like, you got warnings. Like, she got warnings. Most of us don't even get a warning. It's like, get out the car, have your hands. We don't get warnings. We don't get second chances. We don't get.
She got more warnings. No, that's what I'm saying. She got more warnings than the brother who got pulled over did. She definitely got more warnings than Dante.
And I'll also say, all these videos of white people getting arrested by cops and fighting cops and shooting cops and stabbing cops and threatening cops.
Did you see the one where the naked white guy was running around and he was choking another elderly white person, and they just let this white, Miracle, I'm sorry, like video after video of white people swinging on cops, wrestling cops, beating up other people, and not a damn thing happening to them. Go watch them. It's like, you'll be on YouTube for a while. That's nuts.
But I'm saying that doesn't make me feel better, right? To know, and that's not practicing solidarity. So I know times like this, a lot of people want to talk about like their privilege. You boasting about your privilege isn't making this any easier. To be like, I spy on a cop and I swung on him and I'm home today, that doesn't make it easier for us to digest and see what's happening in our communities. It actually shows us how undervalued and dehumanized and criminalized we are. And I also think about the ways in which we keep trying to have these conversations and these talks. Dante had a car that he just got from a family member, right? Yep. He was driving. There is no indication that he was even aware of what was going on. And even further to the line, they told him he got pulled over because he had stuff obstructing the air freshener. They wrote in the police report it was because his tags were expired. Police officers lie, and you wonder why we are afraid of the police if they're lying to us about why they're pulling us over and what is going on. And then they just want to put handcuffs on us. When we know these things aren't arrestable offenses, this is why people are responding in certain ways. There's no respect. There's no engagement. And people are literally fighting for their lives. And the fact that nobody is once again getting medical assistance. Nobody's calling stuff in. I don't care that you quit. I don't care that you were able to do a same-day photo shoot at the jail and get bonded out. What I care about is nobody is going to be there to take responsibility. Because at the end of the day, everyone who had a decision-making position quit. So what are you going to do? Put another black and brown person up there to be the face, to tell me everything's going to be okay, and you're going to, in 2 and 3 years, give us a report that's going to tell us everything we already knew?
Right. No, you're 100% right. So I'm gonna come to Treble, but I have a question for you, Miracle, after Treble. Go ahead, bro.
So this reminds me of what Tucker Carlson was saying on Fox News, because it paints the picture that like he's not the only person who believes in this theory, and it's also showing me that like it exists on a systemic level. Because when we look at how white violence is treated and how black violence is treated, it's like black violence is like, it cannot happen at all. Black people cannot be violent in any way, shape, or form. And if they are even just a little bit, if they even seem violent, then it's like met with like all of this force. It's met with like usually someone losing their life. But if a white person gets violent, they can kill multiple people, as many people as they want, and still be met with like, their life intact. You know what I'm saying? With someone who actually cares about their life.
Yeah, not only like they'll get promotions, they'll get like job opportunities. Like, it's like it doesn't matter. And that's the privilege of being white. You could do violence, you can do all types of wild, crazy stuff, and still you had sitting congressmen and senators right now that helped this insurrection that happened at the Capitol, and nothing has happened to them. They face no repercussions, and some of them probably go on and try to run for president. One of them might even win. I mean, that's the reality of being white in this country. But I did want to ask you, Miracle, if it mattered, and then we can even get into that. Want to have this conversation about Tucker Carlson and this whole white replacement theory, the idea that like black and brown. Oh, you you ready to go, Farouk? You kind of shook your head.
Fuck that
but
nigga.
I did want to ask you, Miracle. Does it matter? I mean, so one of the officers that pulled over Lieutenant Nazario was fired. They obviously allowed, Kim Porter to resign, probably so she can keep her pension. You know what I'm saying? But she resigned. She was arrested. Chauvin's on trial right now. He was arrested and indicted. Kim Porter was indicted for second-degree manslaughter. Does it matter that, we are seeing, I guess at least a step of officers being disciplined? Does that matter at this point, or is that just window dressing?
No, because Rodney King, we've seen officers get arrested and go through trial before. We've seen all of this, and I personally have an issue with every person who keeps talking about Chauvin is a sacrificial lamb. He killed someone on camera. Like, what is supposed to be happening to him? Are Black people supposed to be like, oh my God, this happened, let us be traumatized and have charges dismissed? Like, do we not get to have the benefit of having a trial when somebody kills us? And this is the only system that we have? Like, people get arrested all the time. We saw what happened in Texas.
People go to jail all the time, B.
All the time. People go to jail all the time. What are we going to get a conviction? How long is he going to get sentenced for? We saw, with Oscar Grant, 2 years. So less than 6 months?
No, less than a year. Months? Yeah, less than a year. Measurably.
So I no, this changes nothing, and I don't understand how we keep saying the system has to change. There's an issue with policing, and your response is to put more people in the system of incarceration. When we keep saying the system is to keep us safe, it's like you're not listening to us.
Right.
This doesn't change anything. It means that people are starting to hear and they understand that their lives are no longer working, because you can't sit there and say, oh, I only use deadly force, my life is in jeopardy, and then we see that your life is not in jeopardy and you kill someone. So us holding you to account and making you prove your actions is not this system working. Because if the system was working, we wouldn't be burying our loved ones. If this system was working, we wouldn't be going to the hospital to see people who've been brutalized, right? Absolutely. And for every name we know, like even in Georgia yesterday, there was a person killed by the police, right? In Hawaii, there was a person killed by police.
Right. It was a 13-year-old in Chicago. Right. 13-year-old boy in Chicago. We didn't even talk about that. Was killed by the police like 3-4 weeks ago.
Like, there's so much going on. And I get upset when people get mad. When Justine Diamond, when her family got millions of dollars within weeks, and the Black officer who killed her was sentenced to 12 years, nobody was saying he was a sacrificial lamb. Nobody was out here talking about, oh my gosh, this is going to make people think the system works. So why is that when a person who was strangled to death for over 9 minutes on camera, despite the police, of paramedics, other police officers, community members, and leaders, why is it that he gets to have the benefit of whiteness protect him and say that he's like this innocent sacrificial lamb because he doesn't get to just walk free? That to me is very problematic, and another indication that a lot of these allies are anti-Black, that a lot of the people who are claiming to understand what our plight is are anti-Black and only exist to see Black people in pain and trauma.
I was wondering.
You're 100% right.
I was just thinking about this. Because isn't that his neighborhood? Like, where's Sheriff David Clark in this situation? Remember?
I think he's in Milwaukee, but nowhere.
He's in Milwaukee. Okay.
Why are you supposed to be conservative in your words?
Man, but I wonder, right now,
right? Where are you at? Yeah, when you see this Black soldier pulled over, where are you at?
Right, where's Sheriff David Clark? And then now, like in these situations, where all these token niggas, all these token house niggas, your Diamond and Silk, your Hodge twins, this is the shit that made Stacey Dash come back to our side. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how long it's going to take them
We don't
to
wonder.
have. I mean, yeah. I mean,
She chose her side. She chose it.
Well, I mean,
There's no
Farouk,
take back.
it's just like this, and this isn't a dig to you, but look at Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin
Right.
was all about being anti-masking until that dummy, got COVID.
Right,
Then it was like,
yeah.
oh, I got COVID, I'm suffering. Everybody put your mask on. You got to take it seriously. Something will have to happen to either Sheriff Clark or somebody in his family. Something will have to happen to Candace Owen or somebody that she loves
Herschel
for her
Walker
to actually say something. Right.
Right.
Somebody will have to have Herschel Walker, who don't even live in Georgia, talking about he gonna come in. I mean, but just like you said, something has to happen to them. They have to have, Paul Mooney.
But something happened to Candace Owens, right? Didn't something happen to Candace Owens?
That was old Candace. That was what Candace was black. That was black Candace.
Listen.
Candace don't even want to get her hair like straightened. Candace don't want nothing that seems black. She don't want nothing. She ain't ordered no chicken. She don't want nothing. But I'm just saying, like, the old, Paul Mooney, I think called it the OJ effect. Like, something like that gotta happen for you to remember. Yeah. OJ,
I'm not black.
You saw OJ show up at that black church after them white folks kicked his ass to the curb.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now he was showing up at the black church, and now he was in all the hip hop videos. Like, something like that has to happen before they recognize like the reality of this. You know what I'm saying? And that's unfortunate, but that's where we at right now. You know what I'm saying? It has to be somebody that you love or you care about, to feel that pain. And that's a shame. We shouldn't have to wait for another death. And that's why we're doing the work that we're doing here in Pittsburgh. And that's why folks are doing the work that they're doing all over the country. We shouldn't have to. We're out here protesting. We're out here. We're letting you know, like, enough is a fucking enough. You know what I'm saying? But to think that we're just going to talk and tweet reform and not actually get into the real work, we're just kicking that can down the street until another. Because if you think Dante is gonna be the only one, you think he's gonna be the only unarmed black person killed this year, probably even this summer, we know that's not the case. And so why wait until something else happens? Why, Kamala and Biden, who said y'all had some policing plan, and you saw Kamala, I should call her the vice president. I'm a respect officer, but at the same time, Vice President Harris, where you at? You know what I'm saying? It's time. Like, it's time for you to get busy. It's time for you to get busy now.
You ran on Law and Order. You ran on Law and Order. You were tough on crime. This is crime.
Put some of these federal charges up against these officers as well. Like, let Kim Porter know. Oh, and Chauvin know. Or am I pronouncing his name right? I'm probably fucking it up. Chauvin, whatever it is. Let them know. Oh, right. After you do your state time, we got some fair time for you too. Because he damn sure violated the civil rights of George Floyd, and that woman damn sure violated the civil rights of Dante Wright. Let's get them some extra charges. I know Miracle, we're supposed to be about abolishing prisons, but I want to see some white folks behind bars. I'm sorry, I want to see y'all behind bars.
Second day of Ramadan, our steps change. We are human. We gotta give ourselves grace as we make it through. But no, I always think about when this stuff happens, like, what if it was a drug dealer? Like, what if this? I know how y'all love The Wire. Like, what if, what if a drug dealer was doing this? What would the response be, right? What would
you mean someone from the ends, like, shooting cops?
No, but like, what if it was a drug dealer that like pulled over a person and just shot him, right? What if it was a drug dealer that got into a fight and decided to choke somebody out on the middle of the street, right? We don't even have to talk about what if it was someone who killed a cop. But think about it, if it was just like another person that the feds wanted to go to jail, right?
Right.
We would see so many different arrests. We would see so many different policies. We would see so many
immediately
things coming through.
Immediately legislation. Because that's what we saw in the 90s, right? That's what both Biden and Harris participated in, right? Oh, these are super predators. Oh my God, these black people, we gotta lock them up. Mandatory. We need some. If a police officer shoots somebody, there's a mandatory sentence. Where's that legislation at? I'm
Right.
sorry. Did I
Nowhere.
came out of your chest?
No,
huh?
it,
You know what
I
I'm
mean, it's
saying?
nowhere.
No, I'm
That's the
talking about
problem.
Farouk.
And it's like,
No, I'm trying to catch my breath.
Yeah. No,
why are
but
you
I
trying to
mean,
take
yeah, I
this?
guess we probably should wrap it up. You know, Farouk is, you know, on in reserve. He's playing despite, you know, being he's toughing it out. So we probably should
Did you just have
wrap it up.
extra
I mean,
shades at the house?
I keep shades with me everywhere I go because these niggas can't see me.
The drip never stops.
oh my God, despite, right?
Well,
You just had to put it on a
I
little
mean,
slower. You had to put the
listen.
drip on just a little slower, huh?
Man,
Yeah.
just listen, man. Like Triple said last night, bro. Like Farouk will turn a flex into every. If I don't do nothing, I'm a flex.
Bro, shit.
Know that. If I don't
That's
do
real
nothing,
shit.
I'm a flex.
We hope
Listen,
you
I
get
was like,
better.
how
We
many
saw,
more times
you
are
know.
you gonna say that on the? Like, it wasn't even in the intro. I was like, sir, how many more times? He said
like
the whole
3 times.
program. No, you did
I
not.
thought you right.
He said the
right, you
whole
know.
entire program, and I was.
I
Just
mean,
like,
but at least he didn't name himself Saeed with the vid. At least he didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like put it in.
Yo, listen, I thought about it. I
Saeed,
definitely thought
Saeed
about
with
it.
the vid. But you know, definitely get better. And you know, Saeed
Farouk
is
with the
sick.
film.
I know. Yes, for
stop.
somebody that might have
Nasty.
somebody that might have seen you drinking. You know, brother is very sick right now. And you know, there's no, you know, that you have an exception if you are sick. You know, no hardship is put on you to do a Ramadan fast, you know, if you are sick, and you we just make those days up. And so definitely, you know, send prayers to our brother, healing prayers. But you know, our white pages, are we gonna show the Karen? Are we gonna show our Karen, like our Samaritan Karen video?
We need some jokes. We need some. We need the
Yeah,
Samaritan
okay,
Karen.
okay. We gonna show
We
the
need some
Samaritan Karen.
lightheartedness, man.
This is like, yo,
This
so
was
like, you know,
hilarious, bro.
so this Karen of the week has various Karens, but it's like good and bad Karens. Like we didn't know like that there are like
Who was
there's
the best
Karens that
Karen?
can use their powers for good. And so, you know, if you want to get your Karen on, this is how you should do it. So show our Karens of the week. Brother John, if you pull that video up.
That's hilarious.
Do need some jokes, you know what I'm saying? What? Wait, okay, here it is. There we go. At Lululemon.
So you won't let us shop here without a mask?
We have our company policy where we have to wear masks.
Do you know it's a violation of the American with Disability Act federal law if you have a medical condition?
Hey, we're Megan and Shelly, and it's not against the Disability Act, and I'm an HR specialist. I can promise that to whoever's watching this on your Facebook.
So if I came in with a wheelchair with no mask,
we have them for you. Okay, so put it on.
it's against my medical to block my oxygen.
Bullshit. Go outside. So full of it. Leave our employees alone. Store as well. I'm happy to help you outside.
Okay, guys.
I'm trying to keep alive, and you're going to get me sick, and then
It doesn't work that way.
We're gonna.
It doesn't work that way.
You can put on a mask. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
Okay, we're at Lululemon.
That's right, Karens. Did you see them good Karens? Yeah. Okay, you can turn it off. We don't want to see her. We don't want to see her. But yeah, that's like, oh, he called you the fluke game for Farouk. You doing the fluke game?
Fluke game.
Man, listen.
And this makes me so angry.
Oh, the
If
good
you
Karen.
have a medical accommodation for a mask,
Tell us.
you know the procedures. The procedures are you call the store because some of the stores have specific hours for you to shop. They also do curbside assistance. They also do over the phone and online purchasing because just because you have an accommodation doesn't stop you from transferring the illness or you from receiving it. And if you're like, you know what, I went to Lululemon without a mask on and somebody there gave me COVID-19 because I traced everything I did, then you can sue the store. There's a liability issue.
Did you see your man Ted Nugent say, "How come we ain't shut down for COVID 1 through 18?"
What?
I was like, is this nigga serious? He said, how come we didn't shut down the country for COVID 1 through 18?
Oh my God. But I mean, these are the people that these folks are getting their medical information
he had
for.
A Me Too situation. I was confused why he was talking about anything under the age of 18, but I decided to move on from that. However,
Or over the age 18.
Man.
Oh. No,
No,
but you're right. I mean, hey, guess what?
It's
Guess what, baby?
ridiculous.
Like Lululemon got a website. Like, if you want some Lululemon and you got a medical condition, take your ass on the internet.
You remember how
If you got a medical condition, why would you want to go around where COVID is happening with no mask on?
It's because
I mean, she is an older white woman. She doesn't seem like she's too technologically averse. You know what I'm saying?
She's realized. I mean,
Where you think that video is going? She probably got 15 Facebook pages and they all got 5 followers. Where you think that video is going? I mean, come on, man. Like, stop this.
People do that on purpose, and I let's shout out that
I
black
got a
man
medical condition.
who literally is trying to work at Lululemon, probably for minimum wage, and was literally like, "Oh dear God," he was just like, "Jesus."
Look, right. And but Farouk dubbed the term Samaritan Karen. You know what I'm saying? Those Samaritan Karens came. That's what I want to see. If next time I see a Karen, I want some Samaritan Karens. Use your Karen energy for good. They jumped all into the Karen. Hey, what y'all doing over here? No, that's bullshit. That's the type of Karen.
Yo, could you imagine what would happen if police officers were confronted by Karens? Bro, it would be a completely different story.
Nah, remember that police officer that arrested that Karen in the McDonald's? She had the leopard print. She had the leopard print shit on. The police officer arrested her, and she was like, "This is police brutality."
She was on some whole other.
But what? Hey, but look, let's say, like, could we hire a Karen? Like, if you like, yo, have the police pull me over. Hey, go argue
just
with
trying
me.
to give more money to white people.
No, well, maybe. Yeah, you know what? Karen should be for charity, right? I'm not trying
to volunteer your hours.
We can invest. No free labor. But what
free labor, yes, we need free labor.
What I'm worried about is, I think we're going to start seeing more Caucasian folks get murdered by the police, as we saw what happened in Maryland.
Now, if I said that, I'd have to apologize.
The reason why, let me preface this by, like, people.
She didn't say she wanted to see it. She's saying this is what she thinks going to happen.
I think we're going to see that because people have been cooped up for a year. They're getting this vaccine. Don't nobody know how to act. We've already seen people just wilding out in general. I think we're going to start seeing more of that. But I think the difference is, like, even when we're talking about this Maryland teen who got killed, people were already up in arms.
Was he white?
Right? He was white. He's Caucasian.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay.
People are already up in arms. We're going to see how quick the system can change.
Yes.
And I don't think we're mentally and emotionally prepared to watch everything we fought for these past 3 or 4 decades, since even before Johnny Damage, to actually come to fruition, because it's going to be white people who've been harmed by the police. And you got to think about the economy. It's a lot of these white businesses that are hurting. You got to think about people who are over under in all these investments, people who made them bad investors. You know, Bernie Madoff just died today. It's a lot of Caucasian
folks. Did he really?
Who are, yes. God rest.
Wow.
Was he in jail when he died, or?
Damn, I didn't even know. Bernie Madoff died. Jeez.
We got to think about all of that, and now everybody's coming outside. It's been the nicest summer ever. After people I don't think we're prepared. I don't think we've seen the amount of violence that our country is about to go through.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like I said, I was talking earlier. I was talking to my son, and I was saying, like, even going to the mall, you got to be on point. I think, like you said, Miracle, what you just said, like, if we see white people start to get killed by the police and these laws actually begin to change, it reminds me of what happened with the opioid crisis. When we was calling, we was like, yo, this is drug use. Should not be criminalized. People should be treated like, like with medicine, people should be treated like, they have an ailment, they should get rehab. And it was like, it fell on deaf ears when it was black people. It was like, lock these crazy black people up. And then all these white people started to use drugs and started to go through, then it was, we got to be humane. We got to treat them. Let's have rehab, which was what we should have been doing in the beginning. So you're absolutely right. And, of course, we was all like, oh, damn, we wish we would have got treated with that level of humanity. And that's the underlying, that's the real thing, is that you don't see us as human beings. Yeah, right. But it's like, you don't see us as human beings worthy of being treated in the same way. Ultimately, that's the bottom line.
It's our struggle being co-opted again. right? And everything that we put the groundwork in, the foundation, all the blood, sweat, and tears that we literally shed for the advancement and the protection of human rights, like Miracle said, all these policies are going to change overnight as soon as white bodies start dropping. And it diminishes all the work that we've done, all the freedom fighting, all of the rioting. I'm not like, well, call it what you want. All the protesting, all the fighting for survival that we've done is going to be changed within a few brushstrokes, and people are going to say, well, now black people you have nothing to complain about because, you know, the legislation has changed. But no, we actually do, is because, again, you didn't recognize our humanity to change these laws when it was us being murdered. But now that it becomes a problem in the suburbs, now that these white children is now falling victim to police violence, now the laws get changed, right? And that's, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, it's just white people co-opting our shit, co-opting the whole fucking movement. You know what I mean? You turn like, you know, the moment they turned the protest into Trader Joe's, I was like, man, it's a wrap for this, man. This is what happened. You know, they turned it into Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I'm tired,
Absolutely. Man. Any. So let's go to our white pages. Actually. So our white pages this week, because we have a special episode of Blacklight on Friday that features Paradise the Architect. This is a book that he wrote with another brother named Giuseppe called No Half Steppin'. It's an oral and pictorial history of New York City club, the Latin Quarter. So you see Paradise with the rap group Kid and Play, Chris Rock. And so this is our book, you know, support Paradise, you know what I'm saying? He's really a treasure for our city to have somebody that has this amount of knowledge. And most of these pictures in this book, you know, are pictures of Paradise and that Paradise took. You know what I'm saying? So tune in to Blacklight, 6:00 with Farouk and Paradise the Architect for a great conversation, and support, you know, Paradise. Get his book, No Half Steppin', an oral and pictorial history of New York City's club, the Latin Quarter. You know, one of those incubators in the golden age of hip hop.
I'm excited about that.
Action? What's our call to action? Support the. I saw that there was you know, cash apps and stuff for the family. I saw somebody put out something that you could support. Where you could support
Dante Wright's girlfriend.
Right, Dante Wright's girlfriend. He left behind, I believe, a 1-year-old son, and so that could be something to support Dante Wright's girlfriend. Support that family. Can be our call to action for this week. Any last words? Any final thoughts, comments?
I was trying to. I can't.
Just never lose sight.
Yeah, never lose sight.
But there was a book drive for the people in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
For brothers and sisters that are locked down. There was a book drive that somebody was organizing. We'll find that because to me and lead
it's Bookham. Okay.
I think I found it.
Can you drop it in the chat?
Yes, I can definitely do that.
You dropped it in the chat. Okay. I'll share the Instagram link in the chat, and if you want to support, you know, books for our brothers and sisters locked down, this is the Instagram link to get information to do that. Also, you know, speaking of, you know, white supremacy, you know, one of the things that we're going to talk about on Tuesday with what Black Pittsburgh needs to know is the displacement and gentrification that's happening in Black communities. So, you know, our subject is gentrification and displacement of Black people. You know, 7,000 Black people have left the city of Pittsburgh in the last decade. So we're going to have on Councilman Reverend Ricky Burgess, Rand Taylor, who's done a lot of activism around Penn Plaza, and Jerry Dickerson, who, you know, actually just announced that he's running for Congress again, to have a conversation about.
Are you having them all on at the same time?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, bro, it's gonna be on and popping. You know, we're gonna be
respectfully.
When is this?
Respectfully. This is Tuesday. Tuesday at 2 p.m. It's gonna be a conversation, and then, you know, and Dr. Bay gonna be turned up too. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't think Dr. Bay is not gonna come with his fire And so shout out to Dr. Shahar Russell and Dr. Bay. I wasn't able to be on the show Tuesday, but holding it down for our 1 year anniversary. So tune in. That'll be April 20th. And then Power Hour. What's happening on Power Hour, Miracle?
Yes, we are talking about pardons and parole and expungement. A lot of people do not understand that in the past couple of years, the current lieutenant governor has changed everything when it comes to pardons and parole. It's streamlined, it's cost effective. So if you have a felony, if you have any type of conviction, you can get it wiped off your record. So we're going to be talking about the pardons and parole, how you can apply for that here in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So for those, if y'all want to be black with a gun, right, and you can't because you have a felony conviction, you can actually apply to the Board of Pardons and Parole, so you can be out here, to protect yourself if that's how you so choose. If you want to open a business, if you want to run for higher office, and you have a felony conviction, you can also get that expunged. Again,
it's
so
only
you can go and run.
Yeah, just one exception. No, it's not available for white supremacists. So if you are a white supremacist, we're expecting you to serve your full jail time, and
And if you are a white supremacist and you watch the show, can you tell us why? Because then we can make sure we can educate you and help you, unlearn those supremacy that takes over your life.
Absolutely.
Also,
hopefully you're unlearning.
Also, to point out that we're not, we're quarantining, all type of stuff. We're not leading protests right now, and we're not out at the protest. So we're just going to ask people to please give people space and grace. If you don't see us out, there's more likely a reason why. And now we know that our lead security person is down with the Rona. But just understand, when you ask why people aren't there, there's always a good reason. And please just don't expect that Black people have the capacity mentally, physically, and emotionally to take to the street every single day, every single night to fight this system, because we have to fight it in our personal life as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, Miracle. And but at the end of the day, if if that's your take, why wasn't y'all there, and you want to make for assumption you want to make?
Someone say something.
Ultimately, that's on you. No, but people, a lot of times, people do expect us to be. If it's a protest, I know there was. I believe there was a protest yesterday. People expect to see us. They expect us to be there, and we are. We doing what we're doing, but nobody should be required to be anywhere, particularly if you Black. If you want to just go do some self-care, if you want to just go eat a bunch of ice cream and go watch Seinfeld, if that, as Black people, our call for Black people is to take care of yourself. We don't want you to be and that's our call for Farouk, of course, to get better. But that's our call for all Black people. If you feel like you need to take some time and you need to be inside and you're going through whatever you're going through, you have to do that. You're not expected. No Black people should be expected to be anywhere in 2021. That's real.
We got to talk about this. Is kind of related but kind of unrelated, bro. I finished Mr. Robot.
Oh yeah.
We got to talk about that.
That ending was powerful, huh? That ending was bro. If you had, Mr. Robot, one of the best. It's one of the best TV series I've ever watched. I would recommend that to anybody. And yeah, I did the Wu-Tang, and I was disappointed in Wu-Tang. But maybe that'll be for our show, for you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We definitely we got to build on that.
Maybe we're gonna talk about hip hop. All right. We ain't talking about doing something around hip hop and sports and just
how you just be on there and then people just talking about you right in front of you're not even there.
So just different, just it'd be. I mean, but Diddy and Black Rob. I mean, it's mad conversation. Oh, he left to go get some food. It's just mad conversation, you know what I'm saying, that we need. Yeah, we's okay.
Yeah, shout out to Black Rob. Shout out to all the people trying to utilize Black artists.
Yeah,
Diddy, pay. Yo, listen, Puff, pay that nigga, man.
Yeah. Pay.
Pay
Yeah.
the black, the bad boy legacy.
Pay your
They
people.
down bad,
Pay
man.
everybody.
And maybe
Yeah.
and maybe one day we want to have a show where we kind of go into all of this conversation around activism that we're seeing taking place. One day Miracle is going to lead us.
We should invite
into a
Diddy to the show.
conversation. Yeah, like what can I do? What can I? What
It starts at
commercials and
home.
photo shoots can
It
I
starts at
not do? So we'll have that. Hopefully, we want to have that. No, seriously, we want to have that conversation because I think that's also a very valid conversation about activism. In the wake of all this stuff that we're seeing happen right now, and what folks' role, national activist role are, what are celebrities' roles in this, what are just folks on the ground roles. I think those are very fruitful conversations. We won't have all those soon. Just tune in on Hood. We got you. We love you. We will see y'all next week. And be safe and experience some Black joy. You know what I'm saying? I thought your TED Talk, Miracle, like we need some joy in our life as well. You know what I'm saying? So let's do that. Peace, y'all. One Hood.
Peace.
Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. They suck the blood of the poor and they wipe their mouth. The last gas of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the Whitest House, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the finest couch, and for the right amount, you can even buy it out.